Now, you guys all know that I've been backing up all my stuff to YouTube. All of my episodes of my series are there, they're in a playlist, and almost everything that I post here, I also post there. Some of you may even be watching this video there. But there is one thing we've always heard that does ring true. Never read the comments on YouTube. Now, most of the comments are totally fine. They're people who have followed me from TikTok, they agree with me, or they have something they want to add. But then there are people who are just blatantly wrong and, enjoy it. Case in point, this recent showed. When I reported that most of the people who were at the hands-off protests yesterday were people who were worried about their 401k, he's like, oh yeah, sure, millennials really care about that. To which I had to tell him, once again, the majority of the people at those protests were over age 24. They are people who are invested and are worried about their money. He then chimed in when someone said never vote Republican, which is very good advice. And he said, look how well that worked out for you. To which I had to point out that it actually works very well if people actually pay attention to what's going on and they don't just fall for the lying rants of a con man with dementia. Again, pretty solid advice. He said that liberals want a civil war they cannot win. To which I had to point out the blatantly obvious that Maga has been threatening a civil war every other day the entire time Biden was in office. In fact, I've never run across a single liberal on social media who was advocating for this. In fact, most of us were saying, go ahead, try it. The people on the left have pew-pews also. And the whole time these raging radicalized MAGA were thinking they were going to take on the US military with an AR-15. Seriously, the entire time Biden was in office, in between them obliterating their beer cans with a shotgun, or them tearing apart pride flags at Target, they were constantly issuing death threats and claiming they were going to start a civil war. Yet, oh no, now you deflect to it being the liberals who wanted it. The projection is a little ridiculous. But my absolute favorite one was when I reported that despite him saying he's against wasteful government spending, Trump wants to spend $100 million on a military parade on his birthday to celebrate himself. And this guy not only dutifully deflected by saying, oh no, it's the 250th anniversary of the Army, because yeah, the US has parades for that. But he went with their old dumb favorite of TDS. A phrase that was not only created for Bush derangement syndrome back in 2003, a president who was receiving legitimate criticism for his war crimes and his fake war, but was then ironically used in 2015 to describe ruling class Republicans who are dismissive of Trump. To which psychiatrists have said that it is actually a paradoxical statement because it actually better describes the people who love and worship Trump and make their entire lives about him. Not those of us who are actually legitimately criticizing him for destroying our economy and going full North Korea. Maybe you should spend your time focusing on more important things, like the fact that Trump's tariffs are going to cost you several $1,000s extra this year. Just a thought.